3 weeks ago, we brought you the story of a 40-year-old plan that would expand what is becoming one of the busier roadways in our area.
The South Dakota DOT says State Highway 34 from I-29 to Madison is handling a total of more than 20,000 vehicles a day. Tonight, a First Alert follow-up on this story. Here's Brian Allen.
The plan was first developed in the 1980s when Ronald Reagan was president. An idea to expand State Highway 34 from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, from I-29 through Coleman, ending at Madison. Active discussions about the idea had gone cold until our story aired a few weeks ago.
What brought this back to the forefront?
After that story, Madison Mayor Roy Lindsay got a phone call. It was the South Dakota Department of Transportation wanting to talk about Highway 34. Mayor Lindsay was relieved.
It's something that they hadn't really looked at, since, they put in the extensions to the turn lanes and things like that.
Highway 34 is handling a lot of traffic. The overwhelming majority of it is on this section of highway, which is 1 lane each direction. As more people have moved to Madison, as more businesses have moved into the area, as more people have discovered Lake Madison, the traffic numbers have increased, as has the safety concerns. About a decade ago, the state redesigned some of Highway 34's turning lanes, making them longer so traffic could ease into them sooner and hopefully cut the likelihood of traffic backing up and accidents happening.
There's always a desire when you have that many cars traveling it daily.
But while that turning lane project helped, it is not the 4-lane expansion Mayor Lindsay and other city leaders have been hoping for decades. But Lindsay says the DOT has now engaged him in a conversation to discuss what might be possible with Highway 34 going forward.
For our citizens and the growth of Madison, it will always be a desire until it's completed.
There are more than 4,500 miles of state highway in South Dakota. This project will obviously have competition. And one of those competing projects, as it turns out, is also in Madison.
Major infrastructure projects require lots of different stakeholders working together to get those done.
State Senator Casey Crabtree is the majority leader of the South Dakota State Senate. I wanted to talk to him about the Highway 34 expansion plan when he told me about a second project, also in Madison, that also needs funding for a proposed expansion.
It has fallen into a little bit of disrepair. They've kept up with it the best they can.
And ironically, that second project is another portion of Highway 34. It's a bypass that takes traffic from the south side of the city to the west side. And along this stretch, you'll find Madison's new City Hall under construction, as well as Mustang Seed and Manitou Manufacturing, 2 of Madison's largest employers. Crabtree says this bypass has fallen into disrepair, and like the first Highway 34 project, this bypass also needs to be 2 lanes each direction. But it's currently a county road, and county budgets in South Dakota are notoriously on the tight side. To get this done, Crabtree says, will involve multiple agencies having to come together.
So when we're talking about the bypass in particular there, that will have federal piece to that, that'll have a county piece to that, that'll have a city piece to it, and it certainly has a DOT component to it as well.
Crabtree thinks this bypass project could be done within 5 to 7 years. While the Highway 34 expansion from I-29 to Madison, there is no timeline. But Mayor Roy Lindsay says there are now discussions where there really hadn't been any before, and he says that's a victory.
We're not left out of the picture. We're not left out of the picture at all.
In Madison, Brian Allen, Dakota News Now.
We want to let you know that we have contacted the South Dakota Department of Transportation regarding the Highway 34 expansion. We're hoping to talk with them about all of this in the not too distant future.